Please be seated. Please be seated. Order, honorable members. The secretary will read the order.
Debate on vote number 17, Higher Education Appropriation Bill.
There's too much noise in the chamber. I now invite the Honorable Minister of Higher Education to deliver the budget vote.
The House Chairperson and honorable members of the National Assembly, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training, Honorable Teboga Letsie, I dedicate this 2025-2026 budget to the memory of our fallen heroes and heroines in the post-school education and training who have recently passed. In April this year, Sisoke Mbalekwa was shot and killed while running away during student protest at the Walter Sisulu University's Mthatha campus. Further, just last week, Mr. Sinethemba Nkabane, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Institutional Support and Development at Walter Sisulu University, was laid to rest. All these tragic gun violence-related deaths destabilizes our institutions of higher learning, communities, and families, as well as the broader academic community. This violence forces our institution to spend resources on security measures, resources that could be more productively applied to academic investments. I, as the Minister of Higher Education, condemn this violence in the strongest terms because now our institutions are becoming more unsafe. Despite this violence, our commitment remains steadfast to build a post-school education and training system that is inclusive, equitable, and responsive to the needs of our young people and the nation. For the current medium-term expenditure framework cycle, the department's budget has increased at an average annual rate of 4.4% in nominal terms. The total budget allocation for the current financial year is 142.4 billion rands. It increases to 150 billion rands in the next financial year and 258 billion in 2027-2028. In real terms, this growth is not sufficient to meet growing demands for additional resources. 2025 marks the first year of the implementation of our 5-year strategic plan for the period 2025 to 2030. Amongst others, during this period, our overall strategic focus areas will be on improving education outcomes and skills. We intend to complete phase 1 of the University of Northwest Mining Campus by 2030, working to refurbish the erstwhile Kiani College of Education in Limpopo into a state-of-art campus of the Tshwane University of Technology with first-year student registration in 2026 academic year, which is currently underway. Honorable House Chairperson, in terms of the sector allocation, the following comments on selected budget items bear relevance. The budget of TVET for the current academic year is 14 billion rands, an increase from 13.1 billion in 2024. This budget is projected to increase to 14.7 billion next year. We remain committed to repositioning and rebranding our TVET colleges as institutions of choice for various careers of our young people. For too long, vocational skills were seen as second class, but today we are saying to the people of South Africa loud and clear, becoming an artisan is not a backup plan. Artisan training and development is the backbone of a thriving economy of the 21st century. We are saying it is cool to be an artisan of the 21st century. It is cool. Our National Skills Development Lever consists of SETAs, and the National Skills Fund has a combined budget of 26 billion rand for the current financial year. And this budget will increase to 27.8 billion in the next financial year. Student funding through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme has grown since 1991 from disbursing 21.4 million to 54 billion rands. And between 2019 and 2024, NSFAS disbursed 244 billion rands, benefiting 4,695 students in both universities and TVET colleges. The NSFAS budget for the current academic year is 48.7 billion, and it will increase to 51 billion next year and 53.4 billion in the year 2027. While this is not sufficient to meet the growing demand for access to higher education, we continue to seek efficient ways of allocating limited resources to ensure that no deserving learner in South Africa is left behind. Many bright and talented students are left behind as they do not qualify for government funding, and NSFAS will remain committed to implementing of a comprehensive student funding model for higher education to address the needs of the missing middle. Towards assisting the missing middle, the National Skills Fund has set aside 3 billion over a 3-year period, and the first allocation of 1 billion rand was transferred to NSFAS in the year 2024, and progress on implementation of this 1 billion is underway. This is a clear indication that the government has been prioritizing education and its quest to broaden access to those sections of our communities who had no access to post-school education and training in the past. Students living with disabilities receive specific support in the form of assistive learning devices, and NSFAS support enables public institutions of higher learning to receive sufficient funding to ensure quality tertiary education outcomes. NSFAS support to the property sector has enabled transformation across the student accommodation portfolio and has enabled aspiring landlords to start scaling their property enterprises. Overall, the budget for university education increases from 91.7 billion in 2024 to 96 billion in the year 2025 and to 104 billion in the year 2026. In the current academic year, we acknowledge that there is a 1.4 billion deficit of the university budget due to US freeze. We continue to work with the National Treasury to find a sustainable adjustment to university budgets. In February this year, I announced the appointment of the new board of NSFAS. The board is comprised of highly qualified individuals with the expertise necessary to promote efficiency, accountability, as well as transparency in the organization. In the 2025 academic year, NSFAS is supportive approximately of 811 students across various universities and TVET colleges. Of these, universities are sitting at 580,000, while TVET colleges are sitting at 231,000. NSFAS has initiated direct consultation with various institutions to assess their capacity to accommodate NSFAS operations within their premises in its effort to decentralize its operations, because we want to make sure that we are accessible. Following concerns regarding accommodation payments processes, NSFAS has conducted a comprehensive legal review of the contracts of students accommodation intermediaries who are charging 5% fees. And we believe that these fees can be redirected to our young people who do not have access to post-school education and training. We are waiting for a final report for us to decide in this regard. This is our commitment to clean governance, to accountability and transparency, to root out any potential corruption and maladministration in our post-school education and training. House Chairperson, we are committed to repositioning and transforming the National Skills Fund to target youth unemployment in line with the medium-term development plan. The fund will continue its support to the Human Resource Development Council of South Africa and the National Skills Authority in steering national skills and human resource development strategies. In the State of the Nation address in February this year, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa announced a set of comprehensive measures to further support persons with disabilities as part of transformative initiatives to empower over 10,000 persons with disabilities through tailored training programs, stipends, and specialized tools with an investment value of R1 billion. Furthermore, the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention, a key initiative aimed at reducing barriers and expanding employment and training opportunities for young people, will receive priority because we want to make sure that young people have access to education, to skills revolution, as well as they must participate actively in economy. The National Skills Fund will continue to fund artisan development and contribute to National Development Plan target of 30,000 by 2030. House Chairperson, funding for just energy transition requirements will be provided through bursaries, scholarships, occupational programs, and work integrated learning programs. I am proud to say that as the sector, we are leading in South Africa on just energy transition skills portfolio. And as part of this work, the department will officially launch both the Just Energy Transition Skills Desk and the National Just Energy Transition Skills Advisory Forum on the 29th of August 2025. And we will be working closely with the Minister of Energy and Electricity, Dr. Ramokgopa, in ensuring that we implement this program. For its implementation, we'll be working closely in partnership with various government departments, the industry, labor, education, and training institutions, and communities to build a more inclusive and agile skills system. Honorable members, this year, South Africa took over the presidency of the G20. The Department of Higher Education and Training will continue to lead in collaboration with the Department of Basic Education, the G20 Education Working Group, which will include hosting of the remaining education working group meetings in Mpumalanga province. We have identified 3 priority areas of deliberation in the G20 Education Working Group, which is quality foundation learning, the role of early childhood care, and education to improve the quality of foundational learning, the mutual recognition of qualifications in the global context, and education professional development for a changing world. We will ensure that our higher education institutions play an active role in the G20 presidency through participation in seminars covering a variety of priority areas and topics. Recognition of qualifications and skills across borders is no longer optional, it is mandatory. The significance of mutual recognition of qualifications and skills is critical to foster academic mobility for students, for our researchers and lecturers, for our labor mobility, for skilled workers, for policy coherence across countries and regions. Honorable Chairperson, the skills development system will continue to prioritize key areas such as artisan development and workplace-based learning programs. And over the past 5 years, South Africa has produced more than 95,000 qualified artisans, largely through the sector education and training authorities. But the sad part is that we are not sharing our good stories. It is time now for us to share what our sitters can offer. I just want to reflect on key achievements on centers of specializations. The center of specialization were expanded from 43 to 53 by the end of 2020-24-25 financial year. The investment since the launch in 2019 has increased to 257 million to upgrade infrastructure at these centers. The number of trade centers at TVET colleges also increased from 35 to 37 trade centers. Hairdressing was included as funded program for the year 2024, and these centers have trained over 5,000 artisans, of which 1,073 have been tested already and 1,041 passed through trade tests, achieving 97% pass rate. And plan projects and strategic priorities for the period ahead. I think it's very important for me also to share that. The centers of specialization will be expanded to include the following strategic priorities: music and performing arts at the Center, Johannesburg College, the mining sector in partnership with the MQA, the African Rainbow Mineral, and Waterberg TVET College. This will focus on mining skills. and water utility in partnership with Umgeni, Tukela Water and Rand Water. And this is going to assist water boards and our water services authorities with skills needed for water utility infrastructure as well as to fight water leaks. Honorable Chairperson, it is our commitment to build an inclusive, responsive and transformative post-school education and training system. We have commenced with the prioritizing 2 CET colleges in Gauteng and the Northern Cape Province, and they are at the procurement stage and construction should commence by the end of this financial year. To support better coordination in our application processes, the draft Central Application System Bill is finally en route to the Speaker of the National Assembly following Cabinet approval. With the review of the statutory amendments in the PSET, we hope to improve the efficiency and performance of the post-school education and training system in South Africa. Chairperson, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate OBTVET College Football Club for its promotion to the Betway PSL.
Honourable Minister, your time is now expired.
Proud of you as the post-school education and training. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honourable Letsia. Honourable Member, you may continue.
Chair of Chairs, Minister, Deputy Ministers of Higher Education and Training, members of the House, distinguished guests, and fellow South African engaging in this crucial debate through broadcast and digital platforms, I greet you all. It is a profound honor to rise in this House on behalf of the African National Congress, the historic leader of a democratic breakthrough, and a movement entrusted with the responsibility to advance social transformation through state power. Today, we speak in firm support of the budget vote for the Department of Higher Education and Training as a transformative instrument, a tool of justice, and a pillar of nation building. The budget is a political commitment rooted in the clarion call for the Freedom Charter and shaped by the developmental vision of the National Development Plan. As we mark the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter, we recommit to its demand that open code, the doors of learning and culture shall be open to all closed code. The NC support for this budget is grounded in that enduring struggle to expand access, deepen inclusion, and build a PSET sector that reflects the aspiration of a democratic developmental state. Education remains the most powerful weapon we possess to fight poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Through this budget, we are resourcing that fight. As parliamentarians and members of this committee, oversight is not just an administrative function, it is a solemn responsibility entrusted to us by the people. We will hold the department, NSFAS, universities, TVET colleges, and CITAs accountable. We will ensure that public resources are used efficiently, effectively, and transparently to deliver the NC's vision of an inclusive and accessible PSET sector. In this context, we commend the strategic direction the department has taken to expand access and inclusivity. As a progressive movement, we welcome the steady rise in enrollment across the PSET system, a clear indication that our policies are taking root. University enrollments, for an example, are projected to grow from a baseline of 1,077,768 to 1,133,868. I hope listen carefully. By 2025-2026 financial year, an increase of 56,100 students. This is not just a statistical growth, it is a tangible expression of the ANC's commitment to expanding access to higher education to benefit all. However, we must also confront the alarming concern that over 3.4 million young people aged between 15 and 24 remain not in employment, education, and training. This is a structural challenge that demands urgent and innovative solutions. While targeted support for needy youth is already part of the departmental strategy, it must be significant scaled up. We need to expand the reach for community education and training colleges. And we're happy, Minister, you have just announced that you'll build two, strengthen short skills program and build agile partnership with industry to create real path for learning, work and livelihoods. Alongside these efforts, we commend the department for its work in increasing funding for students with disabilities, upgrading ICT infrastructure, and continuing to roll out the student housing infrastructure program. This intervention reflects a holistic approach to access, one that the ANC will continue to champion as we deepen transformation across the PZ sector. However, progress must not blind us to shortcomings. We cannot turn a blind eye to ongoing challenges such as student accommodation crisis, where Black small business owners are facing non-payments from NSFAS, and many of them are about to lose their properties. Funding delays and defunding of students, an infrastructure backlog that continue to hamper the realization of accessibility to PZ system. We urge the department to address these challenges with the seriousness and the urgency they deserve. Alongside these efforts, we commend the department for its focused investment in community education and training. The CET infrastructure grant will support the construction of skill centers, workshops, ICT laboratories, and teaching facilities across all provinces. The investment ensures that CET colleges are equipped to meet local demand, while also benefiting much needed ICT upgrades that support them. Digital learning environments, together with the continued rollout of student housing infrastructure program and an increased funding for students with disabilities, these initiatives reflects the holistic and integrated approach to expanding access. The ANC continues to champion in building a truly inclusive PZ sector. The numbers reaffirm this progress, with over 274,000 TVET college students funded through NSFAS bursaries in the baseline year, with a projected 269,314 students supported in the 25-26 financial year, and a target of over 300,000 in the outer years. On the university front, the NSFAS loan scheme aimed at the missing middle will reach 11,000 students annually. These interventions are instruments of social justice and redress, made possible by an ANC-led government which prioritizes the need of the people. The current budget allocation must be scrutinized for how it supports transformation and equity, especially for historically disadvantaged students and institutions. Annual performance plans from the department and all these entities must be realistic, must be achievable, and must be aligned with available resources. We cannot afford a disconnect between policy ambition and budget realities. Our people deserve results, not excuses. Furthermore, the department commitment to multilingualism must be strengthened and expanded. Yeah, listen carefully. Education must embrace the linguistic diversity of our people, diversity of our country, to improve learning outcomes and ensure that no learner is left behind due to language barriers. A notable example in the collaboration between DHET and UNISA through Language Development Plan, which support pilot programs in indigenous languages aimed at improving student comprehension in their mother tongue. This initiative showcased through recent listen carefully again, multilingualism roadshows in provinces such as Mpumalanga, the Western Cape and Northwest, reflect a practical step towards equalizing all official languages in teaching, learning, research, and support. The task before us is clear: to advance social transformation through a PZ sector is truly inclusive and accessible to all. This committee, as parliamentarians and custodians of the people's mandate, must exercise robust oversight to ensure that the department delivers on its mandate and that every rand spent contributes to transformation of life. The ANC leads this fight with courage, discipline, and vision. We owe it to the generation much before us and the millions of South Africans who look to us with hope. Together, we will open doors wider and keep them open, not just in policy, but in practice. To the people of South Africa, as we present this budget today for consideration, I ask you to listen and listen very carefully. I ask you to watch and watch very carefully. To those who will not be supporting this budget, many of them have already indicated that they are going to reject this budget on the basis that they do not believe that the minister should be a minister today, which is a very skewed reasoning. We want you to listen to them. When they reject this budget, we want you to remind them that they will literally be saying all poor students who are receiving NSFAS bursaries, all poor students who are getting their allowances must go home, sleep hungry, and not have a place to stay. This is what they will be saying to you. They will be saying to you, all small businesses in the sector who are providing accommodation to our students must close down. They must be saying all the owners of these properties must lose their properties. They will be saying all workers in our universities, our TVET colleges, and everywhere else must go home because those universities and TVET colleges must close down. When you vote in 2026, we are asking you to remember them because that is what they will be saying. They will be saying to you, your poor child must not go to school, must not go to university because they have a problem with the minister. That is what they will be saying. When you vote next year, when you register to vote for next year, remember them because they are betraying your children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is the Honorable Sizane. Sizane. Order, Honorable Members.
Angibingelele kuwe sihlalo, ngibingelela amalungu eParliament, ngibingelela abantu base South Africa. Njengomkhonto wesizwe party sifuna ukubeka kucaca ukuthi sifuna imfundo yamahala engeze ukugcina kuphela kwa undergraduate level but ezofika ku postgrad level. As umkhonto wesizwe party we call for free, quality and decolonized education, which is why we unequivocally reject budget vote 17. We further reject this budget on the basis that we do not have the confidence in the ministry and certainly not in the accounting officer in the form of the DG, who is alleged of gross misconduct, fraud and corruption, yet the minister fails to suspend or even investigate him. So we're not rejecting this budget because of all the things that you are claiming, Chairperson. We reject it because we do not have confidence in the ministry and the department to oversee this budget. The 2025 APP budget vote stands as a cold, indifferent document that dares to speak of plans and progress, yet it is shamefully silent on the agony of thousands of students whose futures hang in limbo. Nowhere does it mention the sons and daughters who have labored through years of study only to find their certificates withheld, their dreams imprisoned behind unpaid fees. It is silent and criminally silent on the settling of historical debt that shackles the poor of our youth, the forgotten souls who have fallen through the cracks as the so-called missing middle. Today, as I speak to you, there are students sitting at home, degrees earned but worthless in their hands, not because they lack ambition, not because they refuse to pay, but because they simply cannot afford it. It is silent and criminally silent. It is silent and criminally silent on the settling of historical debt that shackles the poor of our youth, the forgotten souls who have fallen through the cracks as the so-called missing middle. Today, as I speak to you, there are students who are sitting at home, degrees earned but worthless in their hands, not because they lack ambition, but because they refuse, but because they simply cannot afford it. Tell me, how is it just that a child of a police officer who risks their lives and limp each day to keep our streets safe but must be denied future because of debt? How is it right that a child of a nurse who attends to the sick and broken in the dead of the night is locked out of progress because of fees? How can it be that a child of a social worker who fights tirelessly to mend the woods of society cannot claim the price of education because the price is too high? And how is it in a country that calls itself free, does a child of a teacher, the mother of all professions, sit at home, degree withheld simply because their parents cannot pay? Or in a worst case scenario, they are financially excluded. These are families who sacrifice their lives, time and service to this nation, yet they are punished by a cold arithmetic of this NSFAS cap trapped in a system that tells them that you earn too much to help, but too little to pay. So we must rise and ask, does this budget really and truly serve the marginalized and the working class and the poor? Or is it merely a ledger of numbers, blind to the tears, the pain, and suffocated potential of those whose only crime is to be born into poverty? We demand a budget that speaks the language of justice, of transformation, and of humanity. Until then, we refuse to be silent. We refuse to be silent while the youth of this country are sacrificed to corruption, mismanagement, and elitist policies. The National Skills Fund, that has a 5 billion looted. We cannot ignore the scandal consuming the National Skills Fund. The Auditor General has exposed nearly 5 billion unaccounted for, money stolen from our unemployed youth and working class desperate for skills. This is not just mismanagement, it is an economic violence. Yet this budget proposes more pouring billions into the NSF, despite the crisis of mismanagement and underspending of 3.7 billion last year alone. How can we trust an institution that cannot spend its funds effectively or even account for billions that have been lost? Let's address the issue of NSFAS, a program that is supposed to be a powerful lifeline for the disadvantaged, whilst we are still in pursuit of free, quality, decolonized education. However, instead, it was developed into a catastrophe of mismanagement. Over 128 million has been squandered due to fraud and ghost students. An additional 166.9 million has gone down the drain on extravagant offices leases, and 18.6 million wasted on parking bays, while our students are left to suffer. In 2024, the direct payment system failed drastically, forcing thousands of our students into homelessness, hunger, preventing them from purchasing textbooks or even basic sanitary products. The MK party demands that the NSF, the NSFAS be dismantled and rebuilt from ground up. Enough is enough. The betrayal of the poor must end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Maseko.
Thank you very much, House Chair. House Chairperson, honorable members, a budget is not merely about numbers on a page. It is a declaration of intent. It is a moral document. It speaks to what a government values and what it doesn't. The Department of Higher Education and Training claims to prioritize quality education, equity, and excellence. Yet under the current minister, these values are just empty slogans, not guiding principles. We are not here today to debate technical estimates. We are here because the very integrity of our higher education system is being systematically eroded by incompetence, deception, and the unchecked abuse of power. The minister has repeatedly given conflicting representations to this House. She told Parliament that an independent panel oversaw the appointment of key SETA board members. Yet the very individuals named as chairs of that process, including Advocate Terry Mutau, has publicly disassociated themselves from any involvement. That is not miscommunication. House Chairperson, that is deliberate manufacturing of the facts. It is a deception with consequences. Today, public confidence in the SETAs, those very institutions meant to train, upskill, and empower our youth, lies in tatters. Politically connected individuals and ANC insiders have been gifted board seats not based on merit, but on patronage. A jobs factory for comrades, while millions of young sit unemployed, untrained, and forgotten. The road does not stop at the sitters. Despite the minister's empty assurances, NSFAS remains a disaster. Students have gone months without allowances. Appeals are backlogged. Bursary guidelines are issued late. And now we learn that about 27,000 students may be defunded even after they have been admitted, housed, and taught. What kind of minister punishes students for her own failures? What kind of minister speaks of hope while gutting the very mechanisms that offer it? This budget cuts infrastructure grants to TVET and university sectors while ballooning administrative costs. Colleges serving poor, rural, out-of-school youth receives just 2.2% of the department's budget. Meanwhile, consultants walk away with a whooping 22.8 million rand in advisory fees. A department that cannot even spend its allocated infrastructure grants now wants to advise itself on how to spend more. We are told that the department will deliver a just energy transition. But who will train the solar technicians and wind turbine engineers when TVET colleges still lack electricity, Wi-Fi, and qualified lecturers? A transition in name only is not just, it is delusion. House Chairperson, this is a department that has spent millions on forensic investigations, but its minister, the executive authority, has taken no action against officials implicated in fraud and maladministration. Not one disciplinary hearing and not one criminal charge, not one clawback of stolen public funds. Honorable members, when corruption is left unpunished, it becomes a policy. When incompetence is promoted, it becomes strategy. Under Minister Nkabane, both flourish. She has failed to fill critical vacancies. She has failed to protect the financial viability of NSFAS. She has failed to deliver student housing. She has failed to be honest with this parliament. And above all, she has failed our youth. The Democratic Alliance believes that our students deserve better than this. They deserve action. They deserve to have their budget treated with care. They deserve to have the billions earmarked for their future to benefit them, not the connected few. They deserve a minister with competence and integrity. They deserve a minister that treats their future as a mission, not a meal ticket. President Ramaphosa must remove Minister Nkabane without delay. The future of our youth depends on strong, ethical, caring leadership. And until there is accountability at the very top, every rent in this budget will be another drop in the leaking bucket. Honorable members, this budget, if implemented by an
Honorable
ethical,
member, your time is now
and
expired.
trustworthy
Thank you.
minister, but to raise the future of our youth in the hands of this compromise
Honorable member, your time has
will be
expired.
to pay. I thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honorable Lonzi. Order, honorable members.
Chair of Chairs, perhaps we must quickly start by exposing the white lies of the Democratic Alliance, that it can support certain departments but not support other departments. There are 4 key budget votes in Parliament. The first is the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. It gives the budget bills the blueprint and sets the economic policy direction. The DA voted in support of this and it passed. The second one is the division of revenue bill. Now, this one deals with the allocation of national, provincial, and local government. The DA voted in support of this bill and it passed. We're now dealing with the appropriation bill, which allocates funds to individual government departments and programs. The DA cannot cherry pick. Voting for the appropriation bill means approving the entire budget, inclusive of all the departments. So let us be very clear, South Africans, the DA will vote for the appropriation budget, which funds each and every department, including the Department of Higher Education, including the Department of Human Settlements. The DA's narrative is a deliberate distortion at best, or sheer ignorance at worst. The economic freedom fighters has been at the forefront of confronting the crisis in higher education, even when those who are making the most noise now stood on the sidelines. We're perplexed that the Democratic Alliance only discovered corruption when their deputy minister was fired. Before the firing of the deputy minister, they were singing praises about the GNU. Today, they want to behave like an opposition. Fortunately, the people of South Africa are not stupid and can see straight through your lies. So we're not going to waste time with this fake fight between the DA and the ANC. Minister, we're going to present to you 7 urgent and practical steps to rescue higher education from the collapse. Number one, you must fix NSFAS or eradicate it entirely. There is absolutely no reason why NSFAS still struggles to pay students. We've got about 19 million people in South Africa on SASSA and an additional 9 million receiving 350 each and every single month. NSFAS only deals with an odd 1 million students. Why can you not develop an efficient payment system that will pay students, institutions, and accommodations directly? You have got 4 companies here, Minister, that NSFAS pays to pay students. But what makes this even more infuriating is that these 4 corrupt companies don't have FSP licenses. So the likelihood is that these middlemen also have their own middlemen to pay the students. What happens? NSFAS pays the corrupt fintech. The fintech has a middleman with an FSP license. Only thereafter do students get paid, a middleman of a middleman. The second thing you must do is to clean up the SETAs. You must blacklist corrupt board members, Minister. You must blacklist corrupt CEOs. Not this thing you're doing now. Someone gets suspended in one SETA, you take them and put them in a separate SETA. The third thing you must do, Minister, is to support the student debt bill of the EFF. We're going to keep laboring this point until it sinks in. It makes no sense why you withhold the certificates and qualifications of students who owe you debt, because they must use the same degrees to go and seek employment opportunities so that they can be able to have funding. You spend billions bailing out ESCOM, billions bailing out SAA. You are now going to spend 700 million rands on a useless national dialogue. Why don't you take that 700 million and bail out the youth of South Africa? The fourth thing you must do, Minister, is to declare a student housing emergency. I hope we are writing together with the deputy ministers. Introduce a one student, one bed policy by 2027. The state of student accommodation in South Africa is not only inhumane, it's gross negligence. Partner with municipalities, partner with human settlements, introduced a BOT model for student accommodation. Invite progressive business to come, they build, they operate for a period of 15 to 20 years. Thereafter, they transferred back the buildings to government and our institutions. Free education here for you, Minister. The fifth thing you must do is to professionalize and protect workers and academics in our institutions. Minister, excellence in education begins with the workers and the educators, but many of them are exploited. Standardize pay, in-source workers, and reward hard-working lecturers and academics. You cannot expect a world-class education from an exploited workforce. The sixth thing you must do, Minister, is to raise the status of TVET colleges. I'm happy you spoke about it today. We must stop treating TVET colleges like glorified high school. Give them more funding, equip their infrastructure, and market them with the same pride and passion that you do with institutions. By the way, Germany built its economy on artisans. South Africa can do the same. Lastly, and that's point number 7, introduce an unemployed graduate grant. I know you are going to say this is beyond your mandate, but you must lead the discussion. Partner with labor, social development, treasury, even the presidency for oversight. Our young people are graduating, but they don't have jobs. Look at the painful thing happening to the unemployed doctors. Young people in South Africa must be paid for looking for jobs, because looking for a job, Minister, is extremely expensive in South Africa, worse when someone is a graduate. Now, I've got a simple advice for you, Minister. The comrades who are claiming to support you because they are stealing from the sector are not going to be there when you are removed as Minister of Higher Education. When you fall, you are going to fall alone. Therefore, you must decide. It's either you are going to be on the side of students or you are going to be on the side of corrupt comrades of the ANC. This is why we cannot accept this budget, because we have got no certainty that the 142 billion rands is going to be used correctly. Why? NSFAS has a middleman of a middleman of a middleman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable Zondo. Please proceed, Honourable Member.
Chair of Chairs, I'm being intimidated here to support this bill at all costs. But as IFP, firstly, Minister, I think as young people of this country, We must congratulate the former chairperson of the ANC Youth League, Umelusi Kigaba, for obtaining a PhD yakhe. And it's an inspiration to us young people of this country that no matter what, we go forward, no matter the challenges that we face, but we continue with education because it's the only key that will open everything for us in the near future. But we want to say to you, Honorable Kigaba, that holding a PhD must be accompanied by being humbled, no arrogancy, treat South Africa as you wish your children will be treated. What I think Honourable Minister is disturbing me.
No, honourable members, just calm down, please. Proceed, honourable member.
Both Portfolio Committee and citizens of South Africa have witnessed some of the most concerning lapses in accountability from the Ministry of Higher Education. That is being shown by all the clips that are doing round of the Portfolio Committee of Higher Education, whereby the transparency and accountability has been denied. South African citizens have been denied the right to know everything that is happening within the department that they voted for. To make it worse, the legislation arm of the government remained dissatisfied with explanation and justification provided by the minister regarding the controversy surrounding the SETA board appointments. We still want answers from that because you cannot say that we trust this budget, whereas it's going to be implemented by the sitters that are not trustworthy. We need transparent and accountability for our people. 2024 and 2025, the CIE grant was allocated for Hetsibande and Amajuba TVET College. And still now, for those accommodations that were meant to be built are not up. And you ask yourself if you continue to announce that the more beds for students are being allocated in this budget, are they going to stand up or not? Because the previous grants have not delivered what was desired to be delivered. However, this should not end from the significance of this department. It plays a pivotal role, including the capacity, ethical, and development stage. A strategic drive of transformation in South Africa, department importance is highlighted by the substantial allocation it's received. While we commit the commitment to increase bed space in steps of the right direction, we urge the department to accelerate the effort of expanding accommodation capacity of the institutions of higher learning as a matter of urgency. On Chairperson, no amount of money can solve the problem if the underlying diagnosis is incorrect. Unfortunately, this appears to be the case with how this department is approaching the challenges within the TVET sector and NSFAS. Rather, addressing the root cause, such as a poor governance, systematic efficiency, and a lack of accountability, the department continues to allocate funds without a clear substantial strategy. As a result, we witness the recurring issues, including delay in payment, administrative backlogs, and the continued marginalization of students who rely on these systems for their education in the future. Without fundamental shift in how these institutions are managed and supported, the injection of funds will do really more than a mass deepening crisis. Honourable Chairperson, it's time when South Africa faces structural youth unemployment crisis. What is urgent needed is bold, ethical, and visionary leadership to drive the skill development and innovation. In the context, the role of such a board even more critical. SETA must function efficiently, transparent, and align with the national priorities to ensure that young people of this country are equipped with the relevant and higher quality skills to open the pathway for employment and entrepreneurship. We cannot afford the dysfunctional or mismanagement institution means to serve the backbone of our skill development agenda. The department faces numerous challenges. It has remained a critical pillar of our development. The IFP will continue to close monitor the development of department, holding accountable where necessary. However, we firmly committed to principle of good governance, will not hold the department hostage by the political gain. The IFP will support this budget because we are here to support and work along with the ministry to deliver what is required for our people. Thank you.
Thank you, honourable member. The next speaker is the Honourable Sauls. Order, honorable members.
Greetings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Moinke Ahuniki. In his internationally acclaimed work, The 5 Basic Laws of Human Stupidity, the economic historian Carlo Cipolla asserts, open quote, a stupid person is someone who causes harm to another person or group while they themselves do not benefit from it and may even suffer losses. Close quote, attempting to cause a potential legislative backlog in order to be perceived as the blue cape wearing hero, whilst knowing the harm it may cause to South Africans with no benefit to themselves, is not heroic, it is myopic. Our committee consists of PA, ANC, EFF, MKP, IFP, and DA. Together as one strong team, we've been the most effective in enforcing Section 55(2) of the Constitution, holding the executive accountable. Make no mistake, it is not the effort of one single alternate member, as the current deceptive narrative wants you to believe. Honorable House Chair, the department is allocated 450.5 billion in total. That is shared among 6 programs, of which we want to zoom into 2. Program 1 contributes to 2 MTDP outcomes. 1, which is social cohesion and nation building, with 65% of public procurement set aside for Black-owned businesses. We want to reiterate that the department must take serious the recommendation in the report under Section 8 that racial targets should be included. We will hold you accountable for colored African, Indian, and white African inclusion in all opportunities. Program 3, university education, 407.3 billion of the department's expenditure over the next 3 years shall be largely spent on higher education institutions. We cannot be spending a combined 90.5% of the budget just for institutions to ignore our authority and tell us about academic autonomy, that institutions like CUT use us as a smokescreen to appoint foreign nationals, overqualifying academics like Professor Mpekwa, who is now being ignored by them and the department. We see you. Marginalizing highly skilled professionals like Keenan Jacobs just because he's a colored South African. We see you. Institutions like UNISA, who promotes foreign nationals over academics like Dr. Jonas Tinane, that almost committed suicide and is now fired because he wrote to us. We see you. The principal of Meteo TVET College, who pays legal fees from these subsidies via a foreign national CFO to his sister, who is hired as the lawyer of the college, with a member of council also getting a cut. We see you and we're coming for you. Honorable Minister, we support this budget with the commitment to continue to hold you accountable without fear or favor. This is bigger than us.
Honorable Souls, will you just take your seat, please? Why do you want to be recognized, honorable member?
Chair, I would love to find out whether the honorable member would be prepared to take a
Are
question.
you prepared to take a question, honorable member? Order.
No, Honorable Chair.
The honorable member is not prepared to take a question. Thank you. Please continue.
Honorable Minister, we support this budget with the commitment to continue to hold you accountable without fear or favor. This is bigger than you. It's bigger than us. Take accountability where you have erred and correct it for the sake of all South Africans. Proverbs chapter number 12, verse 1 says, whoever, minister, listen to the Bible, minister, whoever loves correction is wise. Whoever hates it is stupid. Despite the popular belief and the popular view, Honorable Minister, I know you are not stupid. Salute.
The next speaker is the Honorable Boshoff.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. A revolution comes along only once in...
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable Souls, will you take your seat? Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. A revolution comes along only once in so many years. And about 30 years ago, there was one in which many systems and ways of doing were set aside to be replaced with new ones. Nou 'n onderwysstelsel is baie keer 'n ding wat stukkie vir stukkie groei, inkrementeel en wat 'n onsamehangende, ingewikkelde soort van werklikheid word wat mense, onderwyshervormers, die soort mense nogal in die versoeking bring om te sê kom ons skuif alles van die tafel af en ons kry 'n hele nuwe stelsel. Die probleem daarmee is as jy 'n fout maak, dan maak jy 'n baie groot fout. 'n Stelsel wat bietjie vir bietjie reggestel word, verander word in die rigting wat 'n mens om wil hê, is baie beter as 'n totaal nuwe stelsel wat nie werk nie. Nou kom ons kyk na wat is die veranderings wat aangebring is. As ons begin by universiteite, autonome universiteite wat elkeen met sy eie volgens sy eie wet geregeer is alles onder die departement van hoër onderwys ingebring. Technikons is afgeskaf en by universiteite ingeskakel, net soos wat universiteite ook by mekaar ingeskakel is. Daarmee het ons 'n baie belangrike tegniese aspek van onderrig en van hoër onderwys eintlik prysgegee omdat technikons tweede rangse universiteite geword het in plaas van wêreldklas instellings van dit wat hulle was. Tegniese colleges wat met ambagsopleiding gewerk het en grootliks met die departement van arbeid verweef is onder hierdie nuwe departement ingebring. Tegniese colleges het ook vaardigheidsopleiding gebring en nou is daar 'n hele nuwe community education and training sektor of arm van die departement wat mense jouself afvra waarom was dit nodig om so 'n hele nuwe ene in te bring. En dan kom ons natuurlik by NSFAS. NSFAS wat 'n kleinerige gebeurskema was en toe oornag omskep is in 'n baie groot toelaagskema. Nou daar's twee probleme. Die een probleem is NSFAS se administratiewe struktuur was van dag 1 af nie in staat om die las te dra wat op hom gelê is nie. En dinge het nog nie verbeter nie. Die tweede probleem is dat dit 'n toelaag geword het waar mense wel toegelaat word om te studeer wat dit anders nie sou kon bekostig nie en dis fantasties. Maar daar moet altyd 'n teenprestasie wees. Onderwys is nie gratis nie. Hoër onderwys kan nie verniet wees nie. Om mense te registreer op die lopende betalingsstelsel en te sê wanneer jy begin verdien met die geld wat jy gekry het uit die staatskas, moet jy dit wat jy gekry het terugbetaal. Dan word dit 'n saak wat homself kan voortsit. Die vorige minister van hoër onderwys het inderdaad gesê dat die befondsingsstruktuur waarbinne die hoër onderwyssektor nou funksioneer is nie volhoubaar nie en sal verander moet word. Daar het egter niks gebeur nie. Dit is nie besig om beter te word nie. Trouwens, daar was 'n beleid gewees rondom universiteite wat universiteite en universiteitscolleges as verskillende klasse van universiteite tot stand gebring het om universiteite te begelei om meer doeltreffend te wees. Dit is 'n inkrementele verbetering op dit wat ons gehad het, maar ons hoor niks meer daarvan nie. NSFAS wat veronderstel was om beter te word, het slegter geword met die aanstelling van die 4 fintech maatskappye wat eenvoudig nie in staat is om die werk te doen nie. Ons sit hierso met 'n probleem dat 'n mens vir jouself moet sê wat is die sterkste manier waarop jy jou afkeer vir die verkeerde rigting van die lyn kan uitspreek en dit is om te sê ons kan nie die begroting ondersteun nie. Ek dankie.
The next speaker is the Honorable Kobe.
Honorable House Chair, there is a crisis in higher education. Let us begin with access. Each year, over 337,000 learners achieve a bachelor's pass, yet there are only 202 university spaces available. This is a slam door in the face of achievement. And for those who do eventually make it through the door, they often find themselves with nowhere to sleep. The student housing backlog stands at over 500,000 beds. At the start of each academic year, we see students sleeping in hallways, on floors, and on the streets. Then there is NSFAS, a bureaucracy of despair. If it's not corrupt, politically connected, contractors fleecing students and lining their own pockets, it's the fact that this system itself is broken. Honorable House Chair, Each year, tens of thousands of missing middle students are excluded, not because they failed, but because there is no funding available to them. And NSFAS's response? Radio silence. Its 2023-2024 annual report is 9 months overdue. On paper, this institution barely exists. In practice, it fails students without consequences. And what of the CETAs making headlines? Action SA has consistently raised the alarm that these bodies are black holes consuming over 20 billion annually, with no transparency, no measurable outcomes, and certainly no public confidence. Walk out into the streets and ask any South Africans what CETAs actually do, and you will be met with silence. Chairperson, it is also interesting and worth noting that the DA has only in the past week miraculously discovered its outrage and chosen to vote against this budget. I will remind them that just a year ago, on the 16th of July, they ascended this very podium and supported this budget despite these long-standing issues. As Action SA, we do not pick and choose moments of principle. Since entering this House in 2024, we have been clear. We will not support this department's budget, not because this is a budget for higher education, but because this budget reflects continued chaos. At the helm of this disaster is a minister who embodies indifference. She concealed the names of so-called independent CETA selection panel, then got caught. But this behavior seems to be common practice from the Honorable Minister. She buried our questions about departmental travel under 800 pages of bureaucratic obfuscation, concealing, among other things, an 11.2 million travel spree.
Honourable Member, will you
Yes.
just take your seat? Honourable Member, why do you want to be recognized?
House Chairperson, I'm writing to ask if Honorable Nkabane is prepared to take a question.
Honourable Member, are you prepared to take a question?
Certainly not. I'm busy. As Action SA, we propose real reforms. Overhaul NSFAS leadership to restore trust, transparency, and efficiency, including scrapping of exploitative fintech payment platforms. We ask you to support the missing middle by raising the NSFAS income cap to 500,000 and to offer low-interest loans with repayments deferred until 2 years of employment capped at 10% of the income. Convert hijacked buildings in our CBDs into housing, student housing, and scrap broken CETAs and channel their budgets into an innovative opportunity fund. There is none of that boldness in this budget, none of this vision under this ministry, and we will therefore again this year be voting no. And just to address the Honorable Lizier, who came and attempted to blackmail us into voting yes, I would like to make it clear to you that Action SA's vote against this budget is a vote for students who are sleeping in libraries and public toilets, and for the youth who are losing their hope, and for the future of a functional and fair world-class education system. As it stands today, the budget under Minister Nkabane does not reflect this. In fact, it maintains a status quo of exclusion, poor governance, and academic decline. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Deputy Minister of Higher Education, the Honourable Gondwe.
Chairperson, this budget vote is being considered in the wake of Youth Month, a poignant moment in our national calendar that does more than just commemorate the courage of past generations of young people. It also reminds us of our present and pressing obligation to ensure that the young people of this generation are given every available opportunity to thrive and prosper. At the very core of this vision is a post-school education and training system that must not only educate, but also empower. Chairperson, more than 30 years into our constitutional democracy, poverty and unemployment remain persistent intergenerational realities. It is these very cycles of poverty and unemployment that we are determined to break as a sector. The socio-economic challenges beleaguering our country, more especially the burden of youth unemployment, underpin the 3 priorities of the GNU, which are to drive inclusive growth and job creation, to reduce poverty and the high cost of living, and to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Since assuming office in July 2024, we've ensured that the work that we do and our interventions respond directly to these priorities of the GNU. Chairperson, we inherited a sector seriously marred by dysfunction, from a failing NSFAS to SETAs embroiled in allegations of corruption and waste. At the start of this academic year, we witnessed the manifestation of these systemic failures when students were left without funding, without accommodation, and without answers. But we've not responded from behind a desk, Chairperson. Over the past year, I have conducted executive oversight across all 9 provinces, with a particular focus on TVETs and community colleges. These visits were not ceremonial in nature or in vain.
Honorable Deputy
There were
Minister.
opportunities to listen, to observe.
Honorable Deputy Minister, can you take a seat, please? Honorable Lonzi, why are you rising?
No, not a long one. Thank you, Chair. We'd like to find out if the DA, Deputy Minister of Higher Education, is going to support her own budget or reject it.
Honorable Lonzi, Honorable Lonzi, Honorable Lonzi, you should have asked the Deputy Minister if she's willing to take a question. And then if she says yes, you would continue with your question. Can you proceed, Honorable Deputy Minister?
These visits, Chairperson, were not ceremonial in nature. They were opportunities to learn, to observe, and to act. The voices and challenges of students, lecturers, and institutional leaders have directly shaped the work and interventions I discuss here today. In a time of constrained budgets and limited resources, we've turned to the private sector for strategic partnerships. In the past year, we've partnered with Old Mutual to expand industry and career exposure for students in rural institutions. We are presently at the tail end of agreements with ShopRite, Microsoft, and Take-A-Lot, designed to bridge the gap between the world of work and higher education. During this time, I also engaged both the FP&M SETA and the Energy and Water SETA in an effort to ensure that their service level agreements with employers guarantee that students trained through learnerships are permanently placed and absorbed into the economy. On the topic of infrastructure, Chairperson, we welcome Cabinet's allocation of over 1.2 billion over the next 2 years to expand student accommodation. But beyond budgets, Chairperson, we need innovation and thinking that is literally out of the box. We're therefore grateful to the KZN Department of Public Works for its commitment to hand over new state buildings for student accommodation. We're also grateful to Harmony Gold in the Free State for making buildings available for student accommodation. Chairperson, institutions like NSFAS must perform and function, and this is a non-negotiable. As such, the new board of NSFAS must prioritize efficiency and accountability. To support students in the sector, we've proudly launched a help desk in August 2024. Since its establishment, the help desk has processed approximately 25,000 queries, the majority of which are related to NSFAS. The help desk has further maintained an impressive 89% resolution rate. This is not just a statistics, Chairperson. It is a reflection of our commitment and my commitment to responsive student-centered service delivery. Gender-based violence remains a national crisis, and last year's CGE report on sexual harassment and GVB in our higher education institutions were a stark reminder of this fact. In response, we launched the Safer Campuses, Safer Spaces outreach awareness campaign in collaboration with the CGE, Higher Health, NPA, SAPS, DSD, and NSFAS to promote and create safer learning environments for all our students, particularly our female students. We are also cracking down on bogus or illegal colleges, Chairpersons, through partnerships with SAPS, Labour, Home Affairs, and municipalities such as Johannesburg, eThekwini, and soon Buffalo City. We are running awareness campaigns to ensure that students enroll in registered and accredited private institutions of higher education. Chairperson, allow me to close with the story of 2 young women, Matlahonola and Zintle, who I met during oversight visits to Mpumalanga and Limpopo. Both young women became pregnant while at school and subsequently had to drop out of school. Later, they both enrolled at a community college in the hopes of completing their basic education and ultimately pursuing their dreams. To the many Matlahonolas and Zintles across our country, you're not invisible. I see you and I'll continue working for you. In closing, Chairperson, this budget must reflect more than numbers and expenditure. It must reflect our resolve and undeterred determination to build an ethical, and the emphasis here is on the word ethical, inclusive and responsive post-school education training system. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Order, honorable members. The next speaker is Honorable Tring. Order, honorable members.
Thank you, Honourable House Chairperson. The 2025-26 budget for higher education and training stands at some 150.2 billion rand, reflecting a 4.8% nominal increase. This growth masks persistent structural challenges in the post-school education and training system. The ACDP notes the department's priority to increase enrollments across universities, TVET colleges, and community education and training colleges. However, barriers such as funding delays and infrastructure backlogs persist. The ACDP calls for increased interventions to remove the stubborn stigma surrounding TVET colleges, perceived as second-tier options, despite their potential to drive economic inclusion. It cannot be denied that NSFAS governance lapses and delayed disbursements have eroded student and public confidence. The appointment of the new board, however, has failed to decrease operational inefficiencies at NSFAS. A newspaper article in February this year noted that funding delays and institutional barriers plague South African universities at the start of every academic year. Now, while the rollout of the comprehensive student funding model targeting the missing middle was allocated some 3.8 billion rand in 2024, it could only fund just under half of the estimated 68,446 students from this category. Many of the students feel excluded, and some who have qualified for the loan scheme allege that they have not been paid for the previous year. The ACDP agrees with the call for a system to monitor and enforce repayment of loans, because without a robust repayment system, the model risks becoming unsustainable. House Chair, the allegations against the Minister of misleading Parliament, of political patronage in the appointment of ANC-connected individuals to the seaters must be fully tested within the ambits of the law and parliamentary rules. The ACDP states that the heads of all departments must be held to the highest ethical and moral standard. Anything short of this is a disservice to the poor, the marginalized, and in this case, the struggling students of South Africa. While the budget reflects intent, delivery remains uneven. The ACDP, as kingdom builders, calls for governance reform, data integrity, and a cultural shift in this department that values vocational pathways as engines of growth. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Tring. The next speaker is Honorable Ghana. Nyambos. Nakenza Msomashtul. Honorable members, fellow South Africans. This afternoon, I want to rise for a grade 12 learner in Limpopo, in the Eastern Cape, and in El Dorado Park. The learner who dreams of becoming a doctor, a teacher, an engineer, or a plumber, but is anxious. Anxious not because of ability, but because they don't know if they'll find space at a university or a TVET college next year. I rise for the young woman who passed matric last year with flying colors, but is now sitting at home, her dreams on hold, because she was turned away due to lack of space. I rise for the student who did find space, but now finds themselves caught in the chaos, delays, and the cruelty of a broken NSFAS system. This budget vote has attracted attention, but not for the right reasons, but for the spectacles that it can provide. I refuse to take part in that spectacle. I choose to focus on the substance. As Rise Mzansi, we reaffirm our commitment to building a safe, prosperous, equal, and united South Africa in one generation.
But that South Africa is impossible without access to higher education. Education, and especially higher education, is not a luxury. It is a path out of poverty. It is a foundation of a prosperous nation. The department's 142 billion budget is substantial, but not enough, because our crisis isn't just funding. It's space, it's access, it's a system that is failing the poor. And nowhere is that failure more glaring than in NSFAS. And I have to say, honorable members, NSFAS changed my life. I'm a product of it. Many in this house are. But what I see today is heartbreaking. Hyenas and entrepreneurs circling what should be a lifeline for our youth. The 95 billion for NSFAS has to go to students and not middlemen. Those that have stolen from NSFAS must be prosecuted. We cannot continue to play political football with the futures of our youth. We need to clean up NSFAS, get it working. Our future depends on it, and we dare not fail. Minister, get NSFAS to work.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Honorable Maimane.
Bagaetsho dumelang. Honorable members, you cannot delink the ambition of freedom to the ambition of higher education. What is factually true is that we focused on the intrinsic nature of education, but we've never linked it to our economic outputs. It becomes important then when we derive a plan for what South Africa needs to look like in the future, we become clear about what type of graduates we want to produce. And to this regard, Minister, I want to focus on a few things. The first one is the notion of empowerment. The harsh reality of it is that this department progressively is overseeing the number of Black students declining who are going to higher education. Instead, Indians and Asians are increasing that number. It tells you that our empowerment story has been de-linked from higher education. The second is the issue of capacity. The university that Honorable Gigaba is graduating from, our university. Chairperson, protect me, please. What's become common cause is that that university expected, it had applications of over 360,000, but could only fill 10,500 slots. It's clear that infrastructure built in higher education is poor. The fact of the matter, Minister, is that we are talking about a shortage potentially of about 500,000 beds in this country. So frankly, if we're going to see the doors of learning open, as is the ambition, we clearly need to fund the capacity thereof. I need to raise the question of how we deal with efficiency. It's now common cause the fact that NSFAS is not an efficient institution of managing how many students we want to get in to higher education. And so, Minister, either we reform NSFAS or actually shut out the middleman. Yes, historically, universities used to allocate slots. And sure, it didn't work. But the truth is, when students were able to walk into an office, speak to someone, they were able to get answers. Today, when students are trying to talk to anyone at NSFAS, they get no responses, and they constantly are coming to complain. The last issue is the issue of leadership. You and I can sit here today and debate whether this is the right minister or not the right minister. The issue of whether the minister misled Parliament or not needs to be brought before a parliamentary committee, and an investigation must be sought so we can get to the bottom of this. It's not a violation of my feelings or anyone's feelings. It's about ultimately constitutional obligation that must be felt. And so on behalf of Build One South Africa, I rise to say we will support this budget. We expect reform, and ultimately we need to make sure that South Africa is a different place from a higher education point of view. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Maimane. The next speaker is Honorable van der Walt.
Honorable Chairperson and members, Under the leadership of the Deputy Minister, Mimi Gondwe, the department co-hosted the Skills and Jobs Investment Summit in November 2024 with excellent outcomes, proof that there are indeed dedicated public servants working to strengthen the past school education system. Got you. Minister, your mandate is clear to build a capable, skilled and well-educated citizenry through an effective post-school education and training system. This department is meant to drive economic growth, social development and global competitiveness. Whilst
Honorable
your
members,
department-
the noise from my right is very high. I'm struggling to even hear Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable Deputy Minister, I'm making a ruling about what you are doing now. I'm saying it's very noisy this side. I'm struggling to even hear what she is saying. Can you please lower down your voices? Can you proceed, Honorable van der Walt?
Whilst your department is in ICU, youth unemployment is in a crisis. On Tuesday, you referenced NSFAS head office in the Hollyard building, a contract that has still not been terminated. Let me remind South Africans, especially our students, of what this luxury lease entails. 2.5 million rand per month for 5 premium floors with ocean views, 140 parking bays initially charged 1,750 rand per month each, and nearly 9.5 million rand, excluding VAT, earmarked for improvements to the fancy lease premises. And while NSFAS executives enjoy ocean views, our students suffer. What we need is on-campus presence, not boardroom luxury. Before moving into Halia, did your department not rent space at the Rockefeller Hotel building? Wonder what that have cost. And that while students were sleeping in bathrooms, libraries, and our city streets because you failed to do your job. In April, 212,000 TVET college students had their allowances delayed due to a system challenge. We now know it was linked to oversized batch files, an absolute unacceptable excuse in 2025. 1.3 billion rand in dodgy direct payments deals were awarded to unqualified IT companies, 4 of them, that were neither financial service providers nor had any experience handling student funds. The former NSFAS administrator was paid 5.5 million rand for 10 months of work, and your written response to me, you confirmed that there was no requirement for a handover report in his contract. I don't think that could have been possible. You often speak of supporting students with disabilities, yet Ms. Botha, a student from Malmesbury with a disability, has been waiting 2 years for her certificate. She has secured a job offer but cannot begin work without proof of her qualification. And I personally raised this with the DG and the CEO of NSFAS. No action. How can we claim to support disabled students, yet fail them when it matters? In 2019-23, your department spent 79 million rand on venue hire. From January to November 24 alone, 38 million. Your entity spent additional 6.4 million rand 2019-23 and another 3.9 million in the first 10 months of 2024. It's unacceptable that students can't get certificates, allowances are delayed, and infrastructure is collapsing. You've been in the office now for a year, but nothing has turned around and no strategy to link TVET graduates to employment except patronage. In ordinary times with ordinary ministers, this budget, despite its shortcomings and despite the myriad challenges that the department faces, this budget would have been supported. But this is not ordinary times, and you're not just an ordinary minister, and you cannot be trusted with 142 billion rand because of the lack of honesty and with integrity. Youth unemployment keeps on rising. How can we, in good conscience, entrust tens of billions of rand destined for students to someone with such questionable...
Honorable member.
Thank you.
Your time is up. Honorable Skosana, why is your hand up?
Yeah, Chair, I'm raising on Rule 85. Yeah, the honorable member says the minister lacks integrity. I think the honorable member is casting aspersion on the minister.
You should have raised it when she was still.
I raised it while she was still speaking, Chair, but you did not see me.
I did not see you, unfortunately. Can we proceed? The Honorable, the Deputy Minister.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Our community education and training institutions are the soul, in our view, of inclusive education in South Africa. They are the bridge between which learning and livelihood, between survival and opportunity, especially for those left behind by the formal education and training system, and that this budget vote must take its rightful place at the center of our transformation agenda. Over the past year, we have made measurable progress in the CET sector. Completion rate at our community education and training centers improved by 15%, supported by curriculum review, better learner support, and stronger community outreach. For 2025-26, we aim to increase CET enrollments by 10%, focusing on rural and township communities where the hunger for knowledge meets the need for economic empowerment. We will roll out e-learning platforms across all CET centers to bridge the digital divide, and we will also pilot blended learning models in partnership with universities, TVET colleges, and we are finalizing plans with provincial governments to repurpose our 200 unused schools and community buildings into vibrant, modern CET learning spaces, because education cannot be the preserve of urban centers alone. But Chairperson, CET is not only about access, it is also about relevance, and that is why we are retooling our programs to align with community needs, agro-processing, early childhood development, construction skills, and also digital literacy. We're also working with the Department of Small Business Development to ensure that we expose all the products that students from CET colleges are creating to the market. A broader post-school system is also on the move. And I got a sense that some of the members may not have a sense of what interventions and how this particular system has changed over the last 31 years. As we speak, Chairperson, university graduation rates have increased by 8%. TVET job placements have grown by 22% through new industry partnership. And our CETAs are innovating boldly, training young people in artificial intelligence, green energy, and community safety. And I think it would be remiss if we conclude this budget vote debate speech without clarifying, I think, two most important issues. Firstly, for some members, particularly the honorable member from the Action SA, Honorable Nkabane, who read the morning newspapers to prepare for this budget and listen to everything else that is being said in the news about the portfolio committee and the budget on higher education, and to come and regurgitate those here as if they are facts is actually unfortunate. And some of the members who said some of the things about the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, as we speak today, 820,000 students are being paid through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. The issue of the intermediary payments have been taken to court by those payment providers, and that whatever the outcomes of the court, the NYDA, the NSFAS will be obliged to respond to those. The reality is, yes, there may have been challenges in our National Student Financial Aid Scheme, but some of those challenges are being overcome, and that this narrative that is clinging to some of the challenges that the NSFAS had in the past and try to repeat them today as if those are a matter of fact. In fact, if some of the things that the honorable members are saying today about what's happening with the NSFAS, with the students in our colleges and in our universities, if those were true, I do not think that any of our institutions will be operating. I think finally, there was a suggestion here that our DG and our minister and everybody else. In fact, in particular, I think that our DG is being charged with corruption, with graft, and that the minister is again. I mean, this is not MK Party where when you wake up accused of witchcraft tonight, the following day you get expelled. Accusations do not constitute conviction. You cannot come here and say people are being accused of this and that and everywhere else and not prove any of those. You want our DG or our minister to follow the route that
Honorable Deputy Minister,
Bambo followed for being
your
the
time
first
has
politician
expired.
expelled for witchcraft. Thank you very much.
Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Can we have order? Honorable members. Honorable members. Minister. Honorable members, you have been given time to speak. Let's give others to participate. The NCC. Al Jama.
Honorable House Chair, Al Jama acknowledges the world-class initiatives of the Department of Higher Education under the leadership of the Director General and Minister and will support this budget. One does not reject a budget because the Minister is viewed in a negative light. What about the other two Deputy Ministers? It is an insult to the official opposition and other political parties because they are saying we are unable to hold the ministry and the minister to account. A strong opposition party is key to a strong democracy, and now we don't have one, which is the greatest threat to our democracy. Tertiary education is one of the most powerful investments the nation can make. And this speech has not been produced by artificial intelligence, which the fighters will take a century to understand and get used to. It is therefore unfortunate that funding for higher education remains a crisis in South Africa, but at the same time, we must not overlook the significant progress made so far. Higher education is the key to decent work. And President Mandela got the first award by the ILO for promoting decent work. The Minister of Higher Education is the champion we need to ensure more people have decent work in South Africa. Decent work is a lifelong job with all the perks and benefits best practice employers offer their staff, like excellent pensions, medical aid, housing, bursaries, and even to visit Rome and Mecca. As the Deputy Minister of Social Development, I would like to thank the Minister of Higher Education that has made it so easy for learner grant beneficiaries to automatically get NSFAS assistance if they accept it at the university and college. They do not even have to apply and fill in any forms. 80% of the class of 2024 were learner grant beneficiaries, and this House gave the class of 2024 a standing ovation. The empty vessels of the DA in what we heard today, so well articulated by the fighters who don't understand artificial intelligence, has taken hypocrisy to the next level. So apologies, Chairman, for that. In 2024, the Minister of Education launched a National Skills Fund Disabilities Program. Thank you very much, Minister, for that, because 10,000 persons will now go through tailored training programs. Al Jama supports this budget.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Khachau.
Ke a leboha motsamaiso wa dipuisano. House Chairperson, the ANC wants the people of this republic to believe that a fight against corruption is a fight against the future of this country. This isn't shocking because to them, corruption is their daily bread. Living in a corruption-free South Africa is a direct threat against the very core of their existence. See, unlike the other political parties who have today pledged their support to this budget under Minister Nkabane, the DA has not forgotten about our commitment to the people of this country. Our loyalty remains to nothing else but the people. South Africa can count on the DA to fight for them and to fight for justice against corruption. See, the real enemy of progress against young people here is Minister Nkabane. It is the ANC for protecting her and corruption. It is President Ramaphosa for refusing to fire her. It is the political parties that think 141 billion rands is safe in the hands of Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane. Minister, through you, House Chairperson, Minister, committing fraud and a statutory offense under Section 26 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act 4 of 2004 is not only a spit on the graves of the forefathers of this democracy, but it is a spit on the faces of young people whom you've failed to lead. It is a spit in the face of your D-head staff that you have sacrificed at the altar of your own protection. Minister, you said that you are dedicating this budget to the memory of fallen heroes and heroines of the PSET sector. So I dare you, do the right thing in honor of these people, resign. Detox the department. When you're calm, you can listen. Detox this department of the toxicity of your poor leadership, arrogance, effective allergy to honesty, and commitment to no one else but yourself. You don't need to wait for President Ramaphosa to fire you if you mean it, that you are a servant of the people. The people of South Africa say they do not want you to lead the Department of Higher Education anymore. Serve them, be honest, and resign. Ke a leboha modulasetulo.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Member. The next speaker is Honorable Nkabane.
Honorable Chair, really, sometimes it saddens me. It looks like from our side, it's now a culture that you sometimes own the damages that you always do. It saddens me that the minister, you come here and you say you dedicate this your speech to Sisonke Mbolekwa, a 24-year-old pursuing a Bachelor of Education degree who passed away. Let's explain why the student passed away. The student passed away because of protesting for dilapidating, deplorable student accommodation. And it's your system in NSFAS, but you come here and you say you dedicate the speech to him. It's the same sequence that it looked like you guys are used to. Andres Tatane was protesting for bad service delivery. It was short, and you come here, you said, this speech I dedicate to you. Minister, I will appreciate on your closing, if you can tell us that you've went and see the families of Sisonke Mbolekwa, you visited the family because they are claiming they're going to sue the higher education for payment. We need to do something. Sisonke Mbolekwa died because of negligence of NSFAS, the negligence of the university communication with NSFAS. No one knows, no one is communicating to students that who's paid, who's not paid. Fix the system and don't come and dedicate the speech to the people that you caused the death to. It's the ANC, it's the government that did this killing of the student. The hands are not clean to the department. So we need to do something about it.
Nkabane, can you please take a seat? Honorable Skosana.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chair. I'm raising on Rule 85. Honorable Nkabane is casting aspersion on the minister. He says the minister caused the death of people. I think he should submit a substantive motion to that.
I did not hear him to be saying that, but let me check and I'll come back to you.
Skotane, I'll repeat. Indirectly, the department, you must listen when I speak. The department, under the minister and its negligence, caused the death of the student. So there are a lot of things that you spoke that are on strategic planning, priority planning one. Where you say drive inclusive growth and job creation. There's no inclusive growth in this government. There's no economy, and there's nothing. What you need to know, I will invite you, Chairperson, every December, Jacob Zuma in Nkandla celebrates students who have graduated with degree. I've met a Chairperson there. I've met pilots there, Chairperson. You must come. I'll invite. I've met pilot. I've met chartered accountants. I've met medical doctors. I've met engineers in electricity and IT and construction, graduated because of being funded in higher education by Jacob Zuma. A simple thing done by a president who never went to school has produced so many educated kids. That's how passionate Jacob Zuma is about education. So as MK Party, we cannot support a budget that is a mockery to the poor of this country. Recently, you increased the fuel levy. It's going to affect our students as well.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you,
do not support this
Nkabane.
budget.
Honorable Nkabane, stay on the podium. Honorable Nkabane, can you come back to the podium? There was a point of order that suggested that Honorable Nkabane mentioned the minister. He actually said it's the government and the ANC. So he is not out of order. You can leave the podium, Honorable Nkabane. Honorable Khabo, can you go back to your seat? The next speaker will be Honorable Khabo.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Let me start by clarifying that contrary to a popular view driven by prefects of the ruling class, there is no crisis in DHET. We've got a capable leadership that will respond to every challenge that is confronting DHET. Honorable House Chair, Honorable Speaker, Minister and Deputy Ministers, members of this August House, distinguished guests and fellow South Africans engaging in this crucial debate through broadcast and digital platforms, receive my revolutionary greetings. Let me start by acknowledging Kabelo Seboko, Leboham Midupi, Tsepang Sibande. These are young innovators highlighting a shining example of homegrown innovation. These young people are designing and building a cutting-edge computers right here on the soils of South Africa, Deputy Minister. Liema, the computer that I'm using currently, is a South African product, a tangible proof that indeed the ICT can be done in terms of manufacturing in South Africa. House Chairperson, it is indeed a privilege to rise on behalf of the ANC and as a proud voice of the marginalized and vulnerable South African youth in championing the call for advancing socio-economic transformation through the liberating tool of education. Today, we rise firmly and unflinchingly to support Vote 17, the budget vote of higher education and training. This is not just a financial instrument, but this is a revolutionary tool that we can use to respond to the triple challenges that are confronting and haunting the majority of young people in this country. It is our firm belief that we are not here just to participate, but to lead as the ANC has always done in an ongoing struggle for a just, inclusive, and economically empowered South Africa. Frantz Fanon has reminded us, I quote, each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it in conclusion. In close quotation. Today, as we stand as the generation in the ANC, we reaffirm our commitment to that mission of ensuring that education and skills development remain the national priorities and levers of economic freedom and social change. Through transformative instruments such as Sector Education and Training and National Skills Fund, we are injecting some life to the Master Skills Plan, building structured pathways to quality training, sustainable employment, and entrepreneurial opportunities. The numbers are not lying, the numbers are telling us a very good story. And what is this good story? In 2024-2025 financial year, over 24.4 billion was allocated through skills levies to the NSF and SETAs, rising to 26 billion in the 25-26 financial year. These are not just targets in a budget. These are a strategic investment in economic liberation and a direct route to the realization of the national democratic society. Importantly, under Program 5, the department is ensuring that all 21 SETAs develop credible and responsive skills plans that can be met annually. This consistency is crucial if we are to build a demand-led skills development system that accurately reflects the realities of our labor market industrial growth path. Honorable Chairperson, this budget responds to the Freedom Charter's clarion call to open the doors of learning and culture. Basically, this budget reaffirms that no child of the working class and the poor must be denied access to education just simply because they were born in the peripheries, in the deep rural areas of Guyana, in the deep rural areas of Taung, in the dusty streets from Pamperstad and Christiana. Honorable Msizan, if you are listening. Central to our transformation agenda, it is repositioning of the TVET as an institution of choice, not as the last resort. We are not merely reforming curriculum, we are revolutionizing it as a way of aligning our TVET program with the industry needs, strengthening work-based learning and prioritizing artisan as a way of making sure that we restore the dignity of vocational education. We are clear that the artisans are a backbone of progress of this economy. Without them, infrastructure will crumble, services will stall, and development will halt. So the ANC recognizes this and continues to prioritize investment in TVET and skills development as a foundational pillars of inclusive industrialization. We also commend the department for a strategic direction it has taken in expanding access to skills development by investing in new CET colleges and an establishment of the Northwest Mining Campus in the Rustenburg and the establishment of Tshwane University of Technology Guyana Campus, but not forgetting most importantly the Dr. Ruth Sogomutsimboti TVET College that remains the only TVET, the only district in this country without a TVET college. However, as a movement founded on the principles of a representative and accountable government, we must not only expose or confront weaknesses that threatens our developmental agenda, but we must decisively deal with them, Honorable Minister. We remain concerned about the ongoing delays in the infrastructure or in the implementation of infrastructure projects, which are often caused by non-performing contractors, lack of monitoring and evaluation, and poor project management by the department. These delays are not just an abstract, but they hamper direct intervention that government seeks to bring to the lives of our people. Honorable Chair, we believe that the intervention that the department must bring must not only to deal with contractors as a way of blacklisting them, but the department must equally decisively deal with officials who are colluding with contractors as a way of milking the budget allocated for skills development in South Africa. The Auditor General's finding, Honorable Minister, adds further weight to these concerns. While we welcome the department's efforts to implement audit action plans and findings, we agree that enough attention must be paid in making sure that we address these underlying issues that has been raised by the Auditor General. We also emphasize the critical need for information management system integration across the department, SETAs, TVETs, NSFAS, and universities, and other entities of the department. The current fragmentation creates room for efficiencies and appetite for corruption, double dipping, and fraud. We urge urgent progress on developing a unified digital platform to track learner funding and across all the training system. Without any fear of contradiction, we stand here to reaffirm our support for Budget Vote 17. And most importantly, it is important for us to reaffirm our support for the Obil TVET College for reaffirming their position in the PSL. But as we move towards conclusion, to the MK members would adhere to your invitation, provided that you'll still be members in good standing of the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. The Democratic Alliance, we are forever warning you. It is important for you to know that it is not necessary for you to overestimate your importance in the GNU. If you want to leave the GNU, we can do that. You must never threaten the president of this country. In fact, for your information, on your way out of the door, you'll meet other members who are entering the GNU. To the EFF, it does not make sense for you to try and sound smarter here. You must never try and sing harder for your dinner table in the GNU. Everything that you have addressed or raised as a concern, the minister has addressed them. And we want to tell you that the EFF, if you would want to instruct the minister what to do, you must go and contest elections and win them. You must not want to lead this country through a back door. And with that being said, we unapologetically support the leadership of Minister Nkabane and Adia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. The next speaker and the last speaker will be the Honorable the Minister of Higher Education.
No, thank you so much, House Chairperson. I'm going to start with indicating before the House and the people of South Africa that NSFAS is actually coming up with some reforms that are trying to respond to issues of student accommodation, regionalization, and student funding. So they are in a right track. We believe that they are going to deliver as expected by the people of South Africa. The second part that I want to speak on is that the DA is misleading Parliament and the House here on issue of a lease termination, because they know that we have been appealing this court ruling for 2 times, and then the Court of the Western Cape keeps on ruling against the department and the people of South Africa on 4 fintech companies, as well as on the termination of the 2.5 million rents per month in that rental office. We do not want that. We want to cut ties. We are committed in ensuring that we explore each and every legal route to make sure that we get rid of these people. They come here and lie, but they are supporting those people because those people are. The third issue that I want to indicate is around the 27,000 students that are alleged to be going to be defunded by by NSFAS. What we have, House Chairperson and members, is that we have a shortage of or shortfall of 11 billion rands. But to date, we've managed to secure 11 billion rand. And now we're busy engaging the National Treasury to come and close that gap. We do not want to leave any student in South Africa left behind. No one is going to be defunded. I want to assure you, people of South Africa. And the last part that I want to indicate is that I'm not going to dignify direct attacks to me. I'm going to focus on the task at hand of serving the people of South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Members, you are reminded that 2 debates are scheduled simultaneously at 4:30 today. The International Relations and Cooperation Budget Vote debate will be held here, while the Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities will take place in Committee Room M4. That concludes the debate and the business of the mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise.